Hi, we're back, everyone. Welcome back to the Benton stream with our wonderful guest for the night, Lindsey Terrell. Lindsey had such a fun time uh, uh, with the old time meme review and banjo toss, and
Yep.
I think now, like we do for every guest on the show, it's time to get into your formal interview. Are you ready?
I am so ready.
Cool, cool, cool. Um, So this is something. Before we start, I will say, like I try to say every time. Thank you once again to our stunning and intrepid folkwise interview sleuths. Lindsey, you know the drill. But if a question makes you smile or you say that's a good question, do not thank me. You are supposed to thank the sleuths. The sleuths pulled up. There's a lot of you. There's a lot about you. Online, Lindsey. I just like the sleuths are very good. Yeah,
I
Orange
think
County.
you're.
How's Orange County, North Carolina treating you? But, um,
Oh,
uh, you think I'm what?
I was gonna say, I think you're like me, where like we just for whatever reason on the internet, you look us up and like one word that relates to our research, and there's just like a lot.
Yeah, there's like Daisy's
Oh yeah.
school
if you
newspaper.
if you type in Daisy thylacine, you get like 100 things that pop up, or even just my first and last name. There's like 100 bajillion things. So it's similar to that, where there's a surprising amount on you there
But we can get into like
in a
not.
good way.
We can get into not stocky and just all around good vibes questions if you're ready. All right, Lindsey.
I'm ready for whatever.
Lindsey, you've talked a little bit about old time music in the age of COVID. I want to do kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a deep dive. How did
Okay.
how did such a collaborative art like the act or like old time music practice survive the physical distance and social isolation of COVID?
Yeah, so I would really credit a lot of that to the Quarantine Happy Hour Facebook group, which was started by the Horsenecks, which is an old time music duo consisting of Gabrielle McCrae and Barry Southern. And they're just I cannot say enough good about these two. I mean, really, they started, I think the first quarantine happy hour stream, it was the Horsenecks themselves doing it, and it was April 4th, 2020.
That's pretty early.
And yeah, yeah, so they started this thing pretty early on. The group started out with just like a few hundred people, I think. Joseph, the aforementioned TA who ended up being on my thesis committee, Joseph DeCosimo, he is the one who added me to the group, and it was still in its very early stages and early days.
Yeah.
And I, um, so it was every single night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. They would have, it started out being pretty much strictly old time, and then it sort of branched out a little more as time went on, especially as quarantine got like more well into quarantine. Um, so I would credit a lot of that with to quarantine happy hour because it really meant we ended up like the nickname for at least for some people became the pub because it sort of mimicked this pub like environment, that small pub environment where people come every night and have a drink and listen to good music and shit talk with their friends and blah blah blah. Because the good thing about it, about this sort of environment, virtual environment, was where um like the stream would be happening, kind of like what happens with Folkwise. I mean, the stream is obviously happening, but there's banter and chat going on at the same time. And that sort of facilitate, and sometimes the performers would also be looking at the chat throughout the stream to whether to like monitor technical issues on the audience's end or to answer questions or to field requests even. So it honestly became even a little more collaborative than like a performance environment because Yeah, because people could chat, people could, and I will say the first, those early days, those first members, it was a lot of people who knew each other. But the people who knew each other, obviously they don't know all of each other's friends. So new people were meeting, like that's really quarantine happy hour is really where I I started meeting these people, quote unquote, meeting these people in the chat because it just mimicked this environment where if it was an in-person environment, I would not be nearly as brave about talking to people and networking and making these friendships if it were an in-person thing. Like if this were an actual pub where I might go there to listen to music, but I'd probably be sitting at the bar drinking by myself while I enjoyed the music because that's what I do. Like I'm way more shy in person than I am online. But anyway, and then of course, outside of quarantine happy hour, there was old time music shit posting. There was dedicated to old time music. There was traditional music today. Different Facebook groups facilitating these conversations. Not all of them had live streams all the time, but people would like share a stream into that group. But quarantine happy hour was the one group with like the express purpose of having like a performance every single night. Like that's what it was for. The other groups were just sort of surrounded around the top, like centered around the topic. And then like folk festivals went online and had Zoom workshops, Zoom concerts, Facebook Live concerts, YouTube Live concerts. And so yeah, so I would say that the collaborative part of this music was really happening in the comments. And then like it made it more, like I said, like people like me who might be a little more shy. So this whole phenomenon, like it was obviously the reason for having it, aka the pandemic, was terrible, but it sort of was good in ways for people like me who, if I were having to do this more organically, I would not be where I'm at right
Yeah.
now.
Um.
So
So other than like you and the artists, are there any other kinds of collaborations that have happened since kind of the digital medium collapsed some of that distance?
wait, can you repeat the
Do
question?
you know? So we've got like you are closer to the artists yourself. But do you know of also like are there like other kinds of collaborations that have happened as people have gotten close online?
Like in person?
Or yeah, in person or online, or what are some other examples of people
Yeah,
meeting?
so people have yeah, one thing I don't know if this answers your question, but one thing it has been um obviously you can't jam like you
Yeah,
normally would in person. So that people have had to like figure out ways of using, like there's not really, you can't like a group of people who would normally jam in person, in a cluster, like they're not going to be able to do that on Zoom and it sound the way it would in person. So
yeah,
like different software people use like can overlay like different things, but they're not like jamming in real time necessarily. So and then a couple of things I did, I started the old time music pen pals group, and I hosted a few Zoom socials, and like quarantine happy hours 100th performance, I hosted like a pre-party and an after party with party hats and things like that. So and I started OTAF Pets, which OTAF is sort of a thing. It's an acronym, I guess, that means old time as fuck. And so I started
yeah.
I started
That
this
one
group called
surprised me. That caught up.
OTAF Pet.
That snuck up on me.
And yeah, so I started OTAF Pets, and people just post their pets. Old time people post their pets. And yeah, Bruce Malsky, the aforementioned shit posted individual, he started a group called Fiddle and Dough,
Uh-huh.
which is about like musicians getting really into sourdough
Yeah.
during quarantine. So it's really cool. Like, I mean, I don't bake or anything like that or cook really at all, but he started that group and people will like take a picture of their creation, but like with their fiddle in the background or something like that. And it's a play on words because fiddle and dough, fiddle and bow. So yeah, there's been really creative stuff happening. Like I have like 15 million pen pals now, who some of them I haven't gotten back to since like late fall. But so yeah, different kinds of collaborations are happening, and I got to meet a lot of, just speaking from personal experience, I got to meet a lot of like, so dozens of people that I had only met online. I met them in person at Mount Airy, which was, and through my job at the Floyd Country Store, which that's another thing, talking about different collaborations, is like I
Mm-hmm.
found the job that I have currently
Oh, no way.
through, like, yeah, someone reached out and was like, hey, like someone from that team. And so anyway, next thing I know, working remotely for the Floyd Country Store and the Handmade Music School. And so that, I mean, that just from personal experience, that is something that happened to me, that some good that came out of this. So yeah, so it's not just been musical collaboration. It's hugely, I mean, it may be even more so than musical collaboration, social collaboration, especially through Quarantine Happy Hour, but also through so many other virtual venues.
Lindsay, I like how you started off saying, "I don't know if this answers your question," and then proceeded to perfectly answer my question.
Exactly. My gosh.
Lindsay, why are you called Lindsay from the internet, and what does that really mean to you?
Yeah, so that I actually almost included that slide in that meme in the slide. But so it's because like I said, prior to quarantine, I enjoyed this music, but I enjoyed it pretty much in total isolation. Like for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, I just never. For a long time, I didn't have my license, so I couldn't go to things. Plus, I was always in school, and I worked in the summers and
Mm-hmm.
over the holidays, so I literally like couldn't go to things even if I knew about them. So I just enjoyed this music like by myself, and especially like t- I didn't know as much about it until quarantine, and I got more into the virtual community side. And but yeah, I just started, I guess I kind of spoke to this earlier, but I started working for South Arts, and I mean, I was interviewing people that were more deeply entrenched in the music and dance community of this stuff that I loved, and I just saw I've always had this really really passionate like energy, but I just never, and I've channeled that into things like in a solo way, but I've never really found a community to like pour that into
Until you
until.
became a folklorist.
Exactly, until it became a folklorist, and then coronavirus shut everything down. And I, like, speaking to me being more shy in person, I would have, like, I started adding random people on Facebook. I started commenting and like bantering with folks in the Quarantine Happy Hour comment section, it, like bravely, and like feeling out what these inside jokes were, and like just because I was craving this community so much and I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
have it in person. Like right as I found it in person, I got to go to like two square dances before everything shut down.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so I found this community, got a taste for it, and then then everything shut down, and the only way that I could navigate it more or like get more of it is through the internet, and which was fitting because a lot of my jobs and a lot of my extracurriculars and stuff have been through social media, like doing social media things and blogging things and web things. So I just had that savvy, like social media savviness, I guess, and that passionate nature that I've always had, like not trying to sound pretentious, but I just had found a place for it. I found a community for it that I felt like because I had always loved music, always, always, always. But a lot of the music that I loved didn't have that close knit, like messy, but like this community is messy and it's got its issues, but like I've always loved classic rock, for example, but it's not the same kind of like close knit
Yeah.
community, like intimate, you know. So, I, but anyway, that just sort of led me to like, I know that I'm gonna have to put myself out on a limb here and just add people and comment on their streams and like make them feel appreciated because they are, because I mean, because they're independent, musicians in a genre that's not exactly lucrative in the best of times. And so it's I yeah, so I just sort of did the inverse of everything that I would do in person and just put myself out there and like added people and they accepted for some reason. And yeah, so I became Lindsey from the internet and because I just made myself really known and like my little profile picture and my little name. I mean, I would post in groups, I would comment on stuff, and not in a self-serving way. I didn't do this like thinking, oh, I'm gonna get some kind of like job or some kind of like self-serving thing out of this. It was just because I genuinely like loved this music and loved these people and like wanted a community around it. And so I genuinely like everything that I did was genuine, not calculated or anything like
Uh-huh.
that. So anyway, so I just made myself really like visually present on the internet. So like when when people met me at Mount Airy, for example, it was like that they knew me as like Lindsey from the internet. So it just yeah. Like one guy, and Rachel was sort of my festival buddy. I'm not looking at the chat at the moment, but like she can vouch. Like one guy called out to his Facebook friends. Like it was and like there were a couple people that I had never met in person, but have been in shit posting, and the first thing I say to them is a reference to something we had like bantered about in shit posting. Like so it just yeah, I sort of came into this in a different way than what literally everyone else
Yeah.
came into it. Like, so that's sort of why I'm Lindsey from the internet, for better or for worse.
You said you weren't reading chat. I will say, I will read you something that our Banjo Six said. Right after you said, like I'm a very passionate person, and then you like almost walked it back, like, oh, I don't want to sound like whatever. Our Banjo Six says Lindsey's one of the most passionate people I know, and I also want to say if you've watched this stream for 2 hours and 20 minutes and haven't picked up that Lindsey's one of the most passionate people in the world, like. Have you been paying? Do you even read chat?
Yeah,
Have you been paying
honestly,
attention?
honestly, somebody
Yeah.
said this on in the background and checked out if they do not agree.
Ah,
Um,
yeah. So, yeah. Thank you, Rachel. I'm gonna cry.
Lindsey, I have a question, and I know you've talked about this on stream, but I think it's important to get into this officially for your episode. So
Yeah.
as opposed to Lindsey Tar Heel or Lindsey Wild Lion, Benton's Dream seems to be a tag of yours with definite staying power. Um, what is? I
Yeah.
know you've said this in the Animal Crossing episode, but that was like back in March. What is the origin of what your tag means, and more specifically, like what does it represent to you?
Okay. So this is like I love this question so much. So
Sleuths.
Benton's Dream is Benton's Dream is a tune that was written by my aforementioned fiddle hero Benton Flippin, um whose Rattlesnake Rattle I have in my fiddle,
Yep.
and it is a very just weird tune, but it's so great. But Benton hated it. But it's called Benton's Dream, and he hated that tune, and I still don't really know why. I've asked the people who gave me my fiddle, and are were like probably the closest people I know to Benton. Like they're not related to him, but they were very Paul Brown and Terry McMurray. And yeah, so Benton was he wrote this tune called Benton's Dream, and he hated it. And I just feel like Benton is so underappreciated because he has such a unique. Everyone talks about Tommy Jarrell this, Tommy Jarrell that. Tommy Jarrell's great. He's great. But like, do not get me wrong. But Benton just has this. I feel like for how unique and how like special his fiddling is, his the how much he's known should be higher.
Yeah.
Like the correlation, I guess. So yeah. So I think I used to be Lindsay Wildline in high school, and that came from me and a bunch of my friends were sitting around outside of the lunchroom or something, and we all gave each other these like names that it was like an adjective and an animal.
Yeah.
And I got Wildline because of my hair. It's up right now, but if it was, it's
that
pretty
was why.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was why. And so that stayed with me for a while. And then I went to Chapel Hill for undergrad and also grad school. So it stayed Lindsey Tar Hill for a while. And because it's kind of a play on my last name too, like Lindsey Terrell, Lindsey Tar Hill.
Damn, I'm just noticing that.
And yeah. So, but even if people didn't get that, it was still funny because it's like, oh, Chapel Hill, blah, blah, blah. And so I was in grad school and I was starting to get into old time music, more deeply into old time music. And I was kind of starting to resent UNC because I had been there for so long. If you count, like I went back to my hometown for a year or two after undergrad, and then I was like, I've got to change this up. Like, I don't want to look at my tag and be reminded that I'm still, after like 7 years, affiliated with this hellhole. But so that's one of the reasons. But I was like, you know what? Holy shit! Like, so many people in old time have tags that are like related to this music, like so many. So I was like, you know what? I should do that. And I was like, holy shit, Benton's Dream. So yeah. And it just means a lot to me because it's a nod to my favorite fiddler who passed away a few years ago, and I've visited his grave, which is in Surrey County. And yeah, so it's just sort of a like sentimental nod to my musical icon.
Moving from Benton's Dream to Benton's Stream. If you had a radio show, what would you do?
Well, first of all, it would be called Benton's Stream, and then perhaps Benton's Stream of Consciousness. I don't know, but I would want to talk about traditional music broadly, not just old time music, because I mean, my work and my focus is old time, like string band music and Appalachian ballads, but I really am very passionate about like global, like traditional music too. And like my undergrad major at Chapel Hill was global studies, and I studied Swahili, and like so that has a special place in my heart too. And so I would love to just talk about like the connections between different types of traditional music, and there are some really great folks out there doing this work, like Rhiannon Giddens and Jake Blunt, and some other folks doing this really cool work to like bend the genres and to like connect the genres. And I think I would just want to play some of that music and have folks on and talk to them about these connections, and how like I'm really interested in how trauma informs music too. That's something I haven't really gotten to delve into much. What like so like especially with race, because my other major in undergrad was African American studies, and I'm really, really interested in like the work that, Jack is doing, for example. Quick plug, if anyone in the chat, look up the African American folklorist. Jack is doing really great work.
Also, can I look up his interview from Folkglass?
Yes, it was so great, so fun.
He was a great guest. He was a great guest, and I loved how much he got into Friday Night Funkin'.
Yes. But yeah, that's probably what I would do, is just talk about traditional music, play traditional music, interview folks from different practices, and yeah. I hope that's a good enough
It was a
answer.
great answer. It was a great answer. Daisy, should we move into some fun questions?
I think that sounds like a great idea,
Cool.
and I've collected a couple chat questions too.
Okay. First fun question, Lindsay. Can you try to explain the most indescribable in joke from old time shitposting?
Okay, I know what I'm gonna describe, and Rachel probably knows exactly what I'm gonna say.
Hell yeah.
Okay, and Dom, you'll love this because it references what I was talking about earlier, the Italian. So
Me? I'm the Italian?
I won't say no, the fiddler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there is this fiddler, old time fiddler, pretty well known, Rafe Stefanini, and
Mhm.
which is just the most Italian name ever anyway. But
He could be
he
going by Raffaello, but I'll allow it.
yeah, so I'll allow it. Yeah. So he there like last year sometime, and I actually found this in the wild. So he was commenting on, someone asked in, I think it was dedicated to old time music, but I cannot remember. It was one of the more like, I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but one of the more like one of the old time music groups that more older, like traditional folks frequent, I
Yeah.
guess. So it may have been dedicated to old time music. I don't
Okay.
know. But anyway, someone was asking for the tuning to use for like what tunings people use for a certain tune or something like that. And some he commented on it and said, so someone commented on the post and said, D-Dad works or D-Dad works well for this tune. And then Rafe replied to that comment and he goes, not only it works well, it is the tuning for it. So so I screenshotted that and I think it was me. And then I put it in old time music shit posting. And somehow it just like, I don't know how this happened really, but it just blew up. Like,
Mhm.
so I mean, there were splinter groups created from it.
Hell yeah.
It is the tuning for it. Not only it works well, it is the tuning for it. Became like, I think Rachel, you may know, but Rachel, a group with more boomers is what she means.
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
being delicate.
but
You were being delicate. Yeah.
yeah, I was being delicate, but yeah. So I think Rachel may have created the tag group, but so someone created a tag group that not only it works well, it is the tuning for it. And it just took off. I mean, there were so many spin-offs of that. To this day, there are still like spin-offs of that meme like being posted. I think there was one I almost put in the slideshow, and it was like, I don't know if this is like a widely used meme template, but it's like a dad and two kids are like sitting or playing on his lap or something like that. And then they're asking him, Dad, what did you do during or the speech bubble that whoever made this meme, I can't remember who made it, but it was like the speech bubble was like, Dad, what did you do during quarantine? And the dad, who someone photoshopped Rafe's face onto it, goes, proclaimed it is the tuning for it. And then the other kid goes, fuck it. The other kid goes, fucking legend. And yeah, so that probably, so it obviously it wasn't like completely indescribable, but that, I mean, that has bled into like using it in other groups too. Like, so yeah, that's probably the the one that always comes to mind for me. And I almost included, it's so funny that you asked me that. I almost included the one that I just described with the kids, because but I didn't, because I felt like it would be too hard to explain.
well, you had your platform. You had your platform like an hour later.
Yeah.
Um.
So
Speaking of things that were included on the PowerPoint, Lindsay, other than Joe Troop, what's an album that came out this year that everyone should listen to?
Oh, you can't do that to
Yes,
me.
I can. Yes, I can.
Okay, I would say, can it include like all of quarantine?
Oh yeah. Sure. Time is
Or
compressed.
I don't know if you
We
meant.
lived
I
through
didn't know
Final
if you
Fantasy
meant
VIII.
like.
Time is compressed.
I didn't know if you meant like 2021. I would say probably Jake. I mentioned Jake Blunt a second ago.
Yes.
Jake Blunt's Spider Tales. You gotta get it. Like it's also available from Free Dirt. So just go to Free Dirt's website. Put "Borrowed Time" by Joe Troop in there. Put Spider Tales by Jake Blunt in there. Just do it. You won't regret it. There are a bunch of other shit on Free Dirt that you're gonna want to, but anyway, Spider Tales, it's sort of a nod to like okay, Rachel, I was gonna say the Onlys album, but I could only choose one, and you know I love Spider Tales. Anyway, there are so many. If y'all want to talk albums that came out in this past year, message me. But anyway, Spider Tail's sort of like because Jake focuses a lot on like Native and African American traditional music, and he is African American himself, and so this album is sort of built around the concept of like tales being handed down, and you read the liner notes, they're beautiful, but anyway, it like he calls out the fact in the liner notes, like he calls out the fact that these old timers that we really respect, that did contribute a lot to the music, didn't neglected to like acknowledge or even take note of like the folks who, like some of the minorities who have helped them along the way and like gave them some of these tunes. So yeah, so definitely check out Spider Tales. So good. I could say so many more. Spider Tales probably my favorite.
Emphatic Spider Tales.
But yeah, also check out
emphatically Spider Tales.
Yes. It is so good. I will put it in the chat. And it is a nod to Anansi, which plays into folklore.
Anansi,
so.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I was picking up on that.
Yeah. So.
Lindsay, can I bring back a recurring character on the stream to ask you this next question?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay, I'm just gonna. Hello and welcome back to Inside the Folklore Studio. I'm Dom Lipton, and I'm here again with Lindsey Terrell. Lindsay, question: what is the ideal nap situation, environment, blanket, pillows? Describe your perfect nap.
Oh shit! I take a nap, at least one every single day.
Hell yeah!
Okay. Let me set the stage. I am in a dark, but not completely dark, bedroom with my dogs.
Okay.
As many dogs as possible, but at least my two dogs, Lucky and Macy. And the sheets are cool. It's very crisp. I've got a sheet, but I've also got a duvet. Like it's crinkly, it's got that cool crinkle feeling to it.
We love a cool crinkle, don't we, folks?
Yes, we love a cool crinkle. And I have just consumed a nice herbal tea, and I have a pillow that is not completely thin and flaccid, but also it's just the perfect, because I'm a stomach sleeper, which is apparently like one of the most unhealthy sleeping positions. And you can't, like, I love a good for extra firm pillow, but it doesn't work when I'm actually like going to sleep like, so because I want to like lay on the pillow like on my stomach, kind of like I'm snuggling. But yeah, so that and if there's a nice fragrance in the air, that's a nice touch.
Ooh.
Um, but yeah, as long as I have some dogs snuggled up to me, that's the best kind of nap. And a cool crinkle.
Well, the chat loves Cool Crinkle. I hope someone clipped that.
I know. I was just gonna say. I hope somebody clips the cool crinkle.
And well, here's the last question. Oh, it's not a question. It just says we demand dogs.
Oh shit. Okay, hold on.
We demand. The chat demands.
Yeah,
The
people
demands.
people
The
my
sleuths demand.
my
Dog-
advice if you wanna be successful on Twitch, dogs. People love dogs. They will pay bits to look at dogs. Oh, hi there.
Oh
Hi.
yeah.
Hi.
Look at those little chonkers.
Oh, look at this little guy.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, Phoebe. This is Macy.
Hey, people. You know how this works.
She
Dogs.
she is named
There
she
you go.
is named so I didn't change either of their names when I adopted them.
Okay.
So I just sort of added she likes to give me her paw constantly. I added so she's Macy Beth Amarina Terrell, and so her name when I adopted her was just Macy, and so I just added the Beth part, kind of like Elizabeth.
Okay.
And then Amarina is a nod to Elton John, one of my favorite Elton John songs.
Oh, tight.
And this is Lucky. Come here, Lucky. Macy, get out of the way.
Lucky dog. Lucky is also the name of Hawkeye's dog.
Yeah, so this is Lucky. He was found with a collar embedded in his neck. So he's got this, if you see that thing on his neck,
Yeah.
that's a scar.
Wow.
That's a scar. It goes
Aww.
all the way around his neck.
Oh.
So yeah,
Bless
so she's
you.
just this little needy thing, and he is a lab pit bull mix. I don't know what she is, but yeah. So that's my bears.
They're
Aw.
beautiful babies.
Little rescues.
They're truly my bears.
Thank you, chat, for
Slinging bits.
The time-honored tradition of bits whenever a dog appears on screen.
Slinging bits.
We love it.
Yeah. Daisy, do you have any questions from chat before we get into Lindsay's activity?
I have a couple questions from chat. This is one's from Joel Chapening. Has happy hour transferred back and forth between virtual and in person as the infection rates have risen and fallen? Like for the quarantine happy hour?
Yeah. So quarantine happy hour does not at this point have any sort of in-person arm. So they ended quarantine happy hour with a July 4th stream. So there has not been a quarantine happy hour performance since that. And that was sort of right around like that was during that they announced that it was ending during that time frame when like things were getting better, but the Delta variant wasn't like as much of a thing yet.
Yes.
So they announced that quarantine happy hour was ending because of things getting better and events happening in person again. And or presumably things getting better. And so so the last stream was on July 4th, and it was it ended because things were presumably getting better, but now, things are kind of, depending on who you ask, getting worse again. But there's been no talk of reviving quarantine happy hour. I don't know. We'll see. I wouldn't envy them that job because they literally, with the help of some guest curators over the months, that's a lot of work. It's literally a show every night, and you're navigating like technical difficulties and people's, like I have crappy internet where I live and like et cetera, et cetera. So like just the myriad of issues that people face, doing quarantine happy hour, like. So Yeah, no, there's no in-person arm to Quarantine Happy Hour, but I would love to see some kind of in-person, like maybe some kind of like venue named after Quarantine Happy Hour or the Horse Necks or something. I would love to see something like that happen because it was just so impactful for so many people. I would also love to see Quarantine Happy Hour like revived again now that things are getting kind of like sketchy again or whatever, however you want to describe it. But I would not put that back on the like beggars can't be choosers. Like I would not put that back on the Horse Necks or any of their wonderful guest curating team because that's a lot of work.
Lindsay, our Banjo 6 says you that the two of you can revive it.
Woo,
The
Rachel!
live version is just live shows. Think about it.
The live version is just live shows.
Dave, you can't mess with that logic.
Damn. Think about it.
Hey.
Rachel, why don't you just go live every night?
Who are you, our Banjo 6? Reveal yourself.
Yeah.
Reveal yourself!
Oh my goodness.
You got another one for me, Daisy?
Yeah, I've got one more too, and this came up when you were talking about your interest also in world music.
Yes.
So Wasteland Shaman asks, how familiar are you with Asian analogs to banjo and fiddle? Like the shamisen, like Japanese, Morin Kurd, Mongolian, respectively, and dombra. Those are, I believe, the names of instruments. I'm not sure. I hope I didn't butcher those.
I'm not super familiar with them. I used to listen to a lot of sitar music. I really like the sound of the sitar. That also kind of came out of, and I hope this doesn't get an eye roll from anyone, but my love of the Beatles, my favorite Beatles, George Harrison, who was like
Dom loves the Beatles too.
This is interesting.
This is
I've been to Liverpool. Like I've done the whole like it. We can talk about this later, Dom. This shit goes deep for me.
Okay.
but yeah, so George Harrison's my favorite Beatle. George Harrison sort of became my into like Indian music and stuff. And so I really like the sound of the sitar. I am not as familiar with the ones Wasteland Shaman mentioned, but I'll tell you who's doing some really interesting work is Abigail Washburn. She's done a lot of work to like think about conceptualize like connection between like Chinese traditional like stringed music and American. So look into Abigail Washburn if y'all haven't. And yeah, I'm not as super familiar with a lot of the Asian music, but I would say I focus like I'm more interested in like I guess African traditional music because the banjo, like it or not, boomers came from Africa. Like at it put simply. Yeah.
The shamisen, I believe I first encountered it as the music in the Wii commercials. If you remember those, we would like to play commercials with that down in the background. Yeah, and there is a shamisen analog of Guitar Hero, Slap Chops 1 says, which does sound super fun. But Lindsay, I think we gotta move confidently into the next section of the interview. Because you said we can talk about the Beatles later. Lindsay, I think we gotta talk about the Beatles now. Have you ever made a tier list?
Of the Beatles?
Well, in general, but of the Beatles.
Kind.
Because
a tier. Oh, the tier list. Oh,
because
like we did with Jack.
Lindsay, you're doing a Beatles tier list today.
This is amazing.
And you are ranking.
I got this.
What's that?
I got this.
You are ranking.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
You are gonna rank the Post-Beatles projects. If people don't know tier lists, we try to do them as much as possible on
so good
on the show.
And
you know,
tier list.
Tier lists, start from video games as a way to rank character choices in fighting games, but It is it's a fun way of ranking everyday life, which is why we love them over here at Folkwise. So, hey, go away, ad. Thank you. So we have this list to put together. We're not just gonna give you like a Beatles album playlist. We can probably find your opinions on that online. No, we have found 12 of the most iconic post-Beatles Beatle projects, 3 for each Beatle. Are you ready to rank the post-Beatles content, Lindsay?
I guess so.
All right, we're gonna go John.
Wait.
We're gonna go
Can
John, Paul, George, Ringo in that order. Yes.
Can I ask? Yeah, that's fine. Can I ask why doesn't it start with A?
Because S is a level above A in JRPGs that refers to like mastery.
I don't think anyone has ever been brave enough to ask that on our show before.
People have
so
just always
glad
assumed
you-
S is the best. Yeah.
I'm so glad that you asked it because I'm certain that there have been people who were like, I don't understand. Is it superb? Is it
It's stunning. It's stunning.
stunning? Is it? Yeah, people were like, what is it? So thank you
Oh,
for being
is
brave
it-
enough to ask.
Does it basically mean that would be like my favorite or something?
Yes, it
That's
would mean
the
it would mean
highest rating.
if,
Yeah.
if A tier is God, those ads are very distracting today. Good. Okay. Everyone buy a home. If A tier is top of is like the top, S is like a masterpiece. S is like a classic. S is like in a tier of its own.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
You ready to go through the Beatles? Are
nervous.
you ready to go through the post-Beatles Beatles?
Yes, I'm ready.
Me neither, Drew. Okay, post-Beatles Beatles. We're starting off with Plastic Ono Band by John and Yoko
Ooh.
and the Gang.
Wait. I have one more question
Yes.
about the dynamics of this game.
Yes.
Is there like a limit to? Does there have to be like
Nope.
one in each
Nope.
category, or okay?
Nope, do your
Or
thing.
is there like there's not a max or anything? Okay. Plastic Ono Band, B.
B for Plastic Ono Band. And reason why or not?
No, just keep going.
Okay, keep it rolling. Next is Imagine.
A.
A. Imagine going smooth to A. And the last John contribution, we have Fame by David Bowie, written by John Lennon.
That's a good one to include on this.
That is C. I'm sorry.
See?
C. I don't hate it.
I
don't
get
hate
it. This is so telling about your
bisexual heart.
musical intrigue.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. We're getting to Lindsay. We're getting to Lindsay shit now. Because next is Paul McCartney Ram.
Scared of the reaction. I'm gonna put Ram in S.
Whoa! Ram is going straight to S.
Yeah.
Let's go. Next up, Wings. Just as a concept, Wings.
B.
B. Under Plastic Ono Band or above Plastic Ono Band?
Above.
Above. I said earlier when we were making this tier list, Wings is S tier as a way to smoke pot with your wife, but as a band, not the best.
Valid.
And last we
Valid.
have Paul McCartney as Jack Sparrow's uncle in Pirates 5.
My God! Oh my God! Paul, I love you, but that's going straight to D.
Hell
In the
yeah,
words
straight
of
to
Lamont
D.
Jackson-
Straight to
Straight to
D.
D.
In the words of Lamont Jack Pearlie,
Yeah.
he's going
Straight to
straight
D.
to D.
Straight to D. All right, next is your boy. We've got George Harrison, All Things Must Pass.
S that bitch.
The top of S? The top of
Above
S?
Graham.
I agree.
Yes,
I
yes,
agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Next up, we have the Traveling Wilburys.
A.
A under Imagine or A above Imagine?
Under Imagine.
Under Imagine, okay. And last we have a movie George Harrison produced because no one else would, The Life of Brian.
Yes! Yes! That one's going to A.
That's now where is that? You said an A?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where in A? Where in A?
Let's do third.
Okay, under the Traveling Wilburys, but above Wings. All right, last we've got Ringo. Ringo Starr in the All-Star Band.
C.
Under please tell me under David Bowie.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Sorry.
right. Next we've got Ringo as the conductor on Shining Town Station. Here's Ringo and a tiny Thomas the Tank Engine. Normally Ringo's tiny and train big, but
Not
Okay.
this time.
That one's going straight to S. I
Let's
agree
go.
with you, Death Loris. Let's. That's the best thing Ringo Starr ever did in his life.
that's right. Okay,
my
so
God.
as compared to George's like fucking 36 song album and Paul grabbing a ram by the horns, where is Ringo's beloved children's television work?
Let's do in between.
In between. Let's go.
I fucking love Thomas the Tank Engine. Let me tell. I have a little brother. Okay. That's several years younger than me, so I watched a lot of fucking.
I don't even know
Thomas the Tank
who like Mr. Conductor is now. Like I know it used to be Alec Baldwin. I don't even know who it is now.
I have no clue.
And
I have
last
no
up
clue.
we have Ringo's Twitter. Peace and love. Hi everyone, it's my birthday. Please do a peace sign on my birthday. Peace and love. No more fucking fan mail.
Peace and love.
I can't respond to it all. I can't respond to it all anymore.
Peace and love, but I'm gonna have shitty opinions about Brexit. Okay. Anyway, let's put that. In the words of Lamont Jack Purley, I'm glad you asked that because he's going straight to D.
Straight to D. And is it D under Paul's acting career?
Yes.
Oh my God! That's so fun.
I'm sorry, y'all. I love the Beatles, but Ringo is. I'm just gonna say it. Ringo. People like to say, "Oh, Ringo's my favorite." And I feel like that's fine, whatever. But Ringo is so underwhelming for me.
Ooh, you say that, but okay.
I love
Ringo's
him.
min-max.
I
Ringo's
love him.
min-max.
Don't
Look at
get me
this.
wrong.
Yeah. If we had to assign like a point value
He's
for
not-
everything,
He would be in the middle because of the averages.
yeah, he'd be in the middle because I mean,
Yeah.
he might still be in the bottom, but I think he'd be on top of John, right? Oh, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Hey, everyone, Lindsey Terrell, old-time music and Beatles scholar, has come through with her official post-Beatles project tier list maker. Lindsey, on a scale from Ringo's Twitter to All Things Must Pass, how bad do you really want to see me, Lord? My sweet Lord. Thank you, Lindsey, for the tier list. Oh my God, we can't talk about the Paul McCartney halftime show.
Yeah, we can't talk about that. I know you keep bringing it up, but we can't talk about it.
This is very
Not
good.
for this tier list. For the next tier list.
Lindsey, thank you so much for your tier list. Everybody, GG's for Lindsey. Ladders in the chat. If you're a subscriber, ladders in the chat for Lindsey. GG's for Lindsey if you're not.
Ladders, garlic,
and
whatever you got.
Whatever
in there.
you got.
Quotes have had a meaning on many levels. Making quotes helped me to get a sense of my own space, sense of finding my way, sense of really working my way out of the labyrinth.